everybody, welcome to Christ Central Devotional. We're continuing going through the book of Romans. We're now in Romans 11 to 24. So I'll read the passage. Again, I ask, did they stumble so as to fall beyond recovery? Not at all. Rather, because of transgression, salvation has come to the Gentiles to make Israel envious. But if their transgression means riches for the world and their loss means riches for the Gentiles, how much greater riches will their full inclusion bring? I'm talking to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle to the Gentiles. I take pride in my ministry in the hope that I may somehow arouse my own people to envy and save some of them. For if their rejection brought reconciliation to the world, what will their acceptance be but life from the dead? If the part of the dough offered as first fruits is holy, then the whole batch is holy. If the root is holy, so are the branches. If some of the branches have been broken off, and you, though a wild olive shoot, have been grafted in among the others, and now share in the nourishing sap from the olive root, do not consider yourself to be superior to these other branches. If you do, consider this: you do not support the root, but the root supports you. You will say then, branches were broken off so that I could be grafted in. Granted, but they were broken off because of unbelief, and you stand by faith. Do not be arrogant, but tremble. For if God did not spare the natural branches, he will not spare you either. Consider therefore the kindness and sternness of God, sternness to those who fell, but kindness to you. Sorry, my computer's playing up. Sorry, kindness to you. I finally got a scope on my computer. Sorry about that. Kindness to you. I'll read that one verse again. Sorry, verse 22. Consider therefore the kindness and sternness of God, sternness to those who fell, but kindness to you, provided that you continue in his kindness. Otherwise, you also will be cut off. And if they do not persist in unbelief, they will be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. After all, if you were cut out of an olive tree that is wild by nature and contrary to nature, were grafted into a cultivated olive tree, how much more readily will these, the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? Okay, so yesterday we heard about how God's calling the Jewish people, and the Romans speaks a lot about the tensions between the Gentile believers and the Jewish believers. And many Jews have rejected Jesus and not wanted to be part of the Christian way of life. But so Paul continues speaking about the hope for the Jews. So God reveals himself to Jews through Jesus, but they rejected that. And so God has revealed himself to Gentiles too. And there's a remnant, I was reminding us yesterday, of Jewish people who still do believe in Jesus, who want to follow Jesus. And when the Jews turn back to God, they will receive grace. In verse 12, it talks about even greater riches. So we Gentiles, people who are not Jewish, we're called the wild olive shoot, and that we're grafted into the root. So I looked on the internet about grafting. I knew it had something to do with gardening. And yeah, you can read lots on grafting. Anyway, I just took a few notes. So grafted trees reproduce the fruit, structure and characteristics of a similar plant in which you are propagating. And trees grafted from a vigorous rootstock grow faster and develop quicker. And so here Paul is saying that the Jewish people, they come from a vigorous rootstock. They got roots going down deep. And so this olive tree, the root goes down in deep into all the words God has spoken over the years, over generations, the Jewish people, through the prophets, through the law. God has invested a lot in the Jewish people. God has a special love for the Jews. So we as Gentiles, we're grafted into that Jewish faith. So all the things they've already got, their rich inheritance, as we join into that faith, we can receive all the nourishment and goodness that they've already received from God. So we're not starting from zero, we're joining in, grafted in on what they've already got, that deep, good, vigorous rootstock. The internet said trees grafted with the right kind of rootstock can create a tree that benefits from the best of the rootstock and the scion trees. So that means the young shoot. So if a tree has been grafted, it benefits from the rootstock and the tree that is grafted in. And so God has been doing that with the Gentile people, giving us that richness from the Jewish faith, that how God has worked among his people for centuries, and we benefit from that. So both Jews and Gentiles share in that nourishing sap from the olive tree root. And we receive that by faith in God. We can't rest, neither Jew nor Gentile can rest on their heritage, on their culture for salvation. In Romans, it talks a lot about salvation. The early chapters talk about how we can turn from sin and be saved. And now Paul is speaking about how we can enjoy that salvation as we're grafted onto the roots of the Jewish faith. And Paul's desire is that the Jewish people turn back to God and be saved too by Jesus. And we often talk about saving, we often talk about salvation, and I think when we've been Christians a while, they're just words that we can say quite easily. But if we think about saving, if somebody is in a fire or something, to save someone is urgent, there's danger, it involves rescuing. So when Paul's desire is that the Jewish people are saved, It's an urgent passion. It's something that needs sorting out quickly. And the same for us. When we receive salvation, we long to see others saved. We need to remember what that means. So our salvation, when we've been saved from sin by God through the blood of Jesus, that is a gift, as Paul speaks about a lot of times in Romans. It's not something we can work for. We can't earn it. It's a gift of God's grace, His undeserved kindness that He gives to us. So all we can do is humbly receive it. We can't boast. So if somebody's given us a beautiful gift, we can't boast about what we did to get it, because it was kindness, it was love that gave us that gift. We can't take our salvation for granted. And as the Bible says, we must not be superior or arrogant. Yesterday, I reminded us of God's sovereignty, that God is over all and that He gives salvation. And in His sovereignty and in His salvation, we have security, but not smugness, Al said. And then he put the verse of saying on the screen, God's sovereignty over suffering is comforting, not disturbing. And so as we rejoice in what God's done for us, how He saved us from our sin, from things that are not right when we go our own way, but we know that we've been saved by Jesus' blood. Let's rejoice, let's give thanks, and let us pray for those who need saving, that we would be stirred by that urgency. And just thank God that we've been grafted into the root of the Jewish faith, all that He's done over the years, how He reveals Himself to us and wants others to come into that faith too. Thank you.